What's going on, guys? It's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. As always, guys, I want to thank you for all of your support on the recent videos. It's been absolutely awesome. I really appreciate it. You guys help me out so much. We are actually very close to 10,000 subscribers. That's just awesome, guys. Thank you. Anyway, with all that aside, guys, today we're going to be discussing the best ways to control a game in FIFA, whether it be FUT Champions, Seasons, Draft, you name it. But before we crack on with that, I would appreciate it if you guys could drop a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on any videos like this one. And with that aside, guys, let's get into the video. So the first thing I'm going to say to you guys is when attempting to control a game, you need to make sure you're using the right kind of formations. And you're probably wondering, well, what type of formation do I have to use? I'm going to explain that right now. So typically, guys, if you want to keep control of a game or just keep the ball, you want to use formations which have a lot of midfielders that are relatively spread out but are not too spread out, and also ones that aren't too narrow. So what I'm basically summing up is the 4-2-3-1. Now, the reason I suggest the 4-2-3-1 when trying to control a game is basically because you have more area of the pitch covered than opposed to if you were using the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, for argument's sake. Now, if you're wondering what I mean by this, if you compare the two formations, you'll see that the 4-2-3-1 has way more players spread out than the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. The 4-1-2-1-2 is very narrow indeed. It's very hard to play many passes because it's such a counter-attacking fast formation where it relies on, quick reactions, fast passing, and it's mainly to create chances. Whereas, like I've discussed many times, the 4-2-3-1 has that very nice balance where you can decide to attack, defend, keep the ball, pass it very fast, pass it slow. You do what you want with it, and that's why I think this formation is key for controlling a game. Because let's say you can keep passing the ball around just to waste time or something, and then when you see an opportunity you can switch and just pass it very fast and score another goal if you want to. And you can't do that in the 4-1-2-1-2 because it's, like I said, it's a very attacking formation. You have two strikers. You don't have much control of the midfield. That's not what the formation's for. The formation is for very quick attacks. And if you're trying to control a game, you're not necessarily trying to attack your opponent. The 4-2-3-1 is also great for this because you can make them little 1-2 passes so consistently. And it's just so easy to move the ball around, in my opinion, opposed to if you're using another formation. Now we've got the formation part done, let's actually talk about what you need to do when you're using this formation in the game. So the first thing you need to think about is, when you're playing FIFA, what is the best way to defend? How do most people defend in FIFA? And you probably all know that they guard the middle with their CDMs, they don't actually use their defenders, they basically just block off passes. So you need to pay attention to the white icon above the player name so you know who they're controlling at what time. Now, you need to think about what your opponent would do in certain situations and what you would do in certain situations. So say somebody's trying to pass the ball through the middle of your team, you're going to run across with a midfielder, aren't you? The chances are your opponents probably do the same thing. So what you need to do is avoid doing that because it's predictable. You need to think about what your opponent's going to do and do the opposite to what they think you're going to do. What I mean by that is, if you would expect somebody to pass the ball in the middle in a certain situation and you're about to do that, don't do it. Instead, carry on running down the wing because you know people are just obsessed with blocking off the middle and they're not actually going to mark your run. So not only are you going to keep the ball there and not lose it, you're also going to create new opportunities to find other passes because your opponent hasn't marked you. You've got so much space and time just to, find your next pass and do the same thing. It's just like a game, guys, and it's a game inside a game. You just have to think what your opponent's thinking you're going to do it and do the other thing. I know I probably explained that badly, it's just really difficult to get it across. You just have to think what somebody would do against you in a certain situation, and when it comes to you doing that, you have to think of another thing to do so it's not predictable and they don't win the ball off you. I can't explain it, okay? So another way of putting this is, say you're running down the wing and there's an open player in the middle, that would be logical to pass to him, right? That's obvious to your opponent though, so he knows you're probably going to do that. So what you could do is turn back and play a short pass. They wouldn't expect that. Then you've played him out of position, you've created more passing opportunities, and you've regained control of the ball. And just playing these short passes will cause your opponent to press you, play himself out of position, and then you can even go and score if you want to, or you can just play around him. It's not that hard, to be honest. Sorry guys, my brain kind of hurts after explaining that, or trying to explain it anyway. Anyway, the next thing I suggest you guys do is don't play these risky passes, and I'm talking about, you know, the really long-ranged passes which are probably going to get intercepted. Because the last thing you want when trying to control a game is your opponent having the ball. Don't give him a chance to get the ball. Playing these small, you know, short-range passes just makes it so much harder for your opponent to get the ball. It's a lot less risky, and that's why I suggested the 4-2-3-1, because you've got so many midfielders about that you can just literally pass it in between everyone. So in short guys, don't play long range risky passes if they can be avoided, as it gives your opponent a very good chance of intercepting the ball and playing themselves into the game. Now the next thing we're going to discuss is the tempo of the game and how fast you should play when trying to keep control. And to be completely honest guys, I think the tempo that you should play completely varies all the time, and that's another great thing about this formation. You can change your tempo very quickly. So what I mean by this is, say your opponent is not pressing and not trying to tackle you as such, he's just trying to intercept passes and cut off the passing lanes. You don't really need to be that quick. You can jog about a bit and just take your time, because there's no pressure on the player with the ball. You know, you can basically just relax until he decides to come after you. But if your opponent gets really frustrated and decides to press you, you need to speed up a bit so you don't lose the ball, because if you play very slow and you're being pressed, you're just going to lose the ball because he's going to tackle you. So if you speed up when they pressure you, not only are you going to keep the ball and stop them tackling you, you'll also notice that you've created more opportunities. Now this is where you have to make the decision of whether you actually want to take the risk and score another goal and risk losing the ball, or if you want to hold off, turn back and pass it around and not lose the ball but also not score a goal. And just from thinking about that, you can tell how you'd have control of the game, because you basically decide what happens. And that's what I feel like the main part about having control is. You could be like, hang on, I'm going to create a chance here and score a goal, or actually I just don't want him to get the ball, I'm going to turn back. And to be completely honest guys, that's all I can really think about doing. You need to think about what your opponent would do in certain situations. You need to control the tempo of the game. You need to use the 4-2-3-1. That's all I can really think about, you know. You just have to play smart, as simple as that sounds. Just quickly, I would like to say there is no fixed way to control the game. There is no fixed formation to use. This is just what I find useful. But anyway guys, that just about sums it up for this video. If you have enjoyed it or found it informative, I would appreciate it if you could drop a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on any videos like this one. Also be sure to comment down in the comment section what videos you want me to make, because I'm always open to ideas. And yeah, that's basically it guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, and I will catch you all later. Peace.